today I'm going to be doing a mini book haul slash book review type video. Um, these two books that I got, one of them I got from my aunt for a really, really late birthday present. Yeah, it's a couple years late. I mean, not years, months late. And then the second one I just bought myself yesterday, and that I wanted. I was like, I'm gonna buy it because nobody got it for me, so I'm gonna buy it so I can read it. But the first book is Cress by Marissa Meyer. This one is the one that I got from my aunt. In fact, I had read this one before because I got it from the library and read it, but I wanted a physical copy to own so that I could read it again and maybe read certain parts and dissect it maybe a little more, because this was a really good book and I loved it very much. The next book, though, is the last book in the series, Winter by Marissa Meyer. I'm not very far into it right now. I just bought it yesterday, so I'm super excited to read this, to finish it, figure out what happens, because it's an exciting story. The next part of the video is a review. I'm gonna be reviewing Cress. It's going to be super spoilery, so if you have not read the book, I suggest you go read, the first three books, Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress, before you watch this video. If you have, stay with me and we'll discuss things. But I loved this book. I mean, there were parts that were frustrating, and it took me a while to get through it just because I'd get so frustrated and I'd see what was coming, but I wanted it to happen sooner. So I had to put the book down and come back to it later to be able to actually finish the book. But other than that, it was really good. The writing style was impressive. The romance was pretty cool. Um, I'm going to be discussing that soon, but I loved how everyone had a little part of their story. I loved how we went back and forth between, I think it was all of the characters. I think we went through almost all of them, yeah. And that was fascinating. We got to see some of Jason and Winter in this book, which I can't wait to see how their relationship develops in Winter. Just saying. But onto the relationships of the book. Kai and Cinder. Whew, that was some aching longing going on during this book. Cinder and Kai were longing for each other. They were pining for each other. They couldn't have each other. I just said each other 17 times in that sentence, but they just, it hurt my heart to see them have to go through this and not be able to have each other, and how they're still going through that because he's engaged to Lavana, which is technically her aunt. And that's not awkward at all. And then, of course, there's the whole she's gonna rule Luna and he's gonna rule Earth, or part of Earth, and that's gotta be difficult. And it was interesting to see how they went through a small bit of that, and we'll hopefully see more in Winter than in Cress, because they were separated a lot of the time, being Cinder being the fugitive and Kai still being Emperor. But I loved Cress and Thorn in this one. I loved their relationship, and I loved how they started getting to know each other, and how they didn't base the relationship on looks itself, but basically on personality, because of the fact that Thorn couldn't see during basically the entire book. And how they had to rely on each other, but they were both very independent and they were able to handle each other. I loved how Cress was able to kind of grow up a little bit. She became a little more mature after she got off the satellite and had to come to Earth, and she was put into this shocking situation while she was in the desert, and she was with Thorn, and she had to be the one to take care of him and herself, and just going through all that, plus battling kind of her feelings for Thorn, because they weren't, I think they were based off of kind of a fake character, and then she met the real Thorn, and they learned about each other's personalities. They kind of figured out what they liked and what they disliked, kind of a little bit. And so now she knows the real Thorn, and she still loves him. I think she really loves him, but she just doesn't want to admit it. And Thorn has developed feelings for Cress, and he doesn't really want to admit it. I mean, there's some action at the end. I mean, they kiss during the battle, but then they go back to being friends in winter, and so it's like, I don't know what to do. And so I'm excited to see what happens and if they get together or not. The next romantic interest is Scarlet and Wolf. Scarlet and Wolf weren't together like at all during this entire book. Scarlet got kidnapped, and that was where my heart like plummeted. Like I was like screaming at the book, like, what the heck, man? Why are you doing this to me? Why? What is wrong with you? And yeah, hearing about Scarlet's torture and stuff was literally torture for me. And Wolf basically knows what she's going through because he's been up there. He knows Lavana. He knows what they do to prisoners. He's, one of their insanely genetically altered soldiers. He knows, and so he's freaking out. I mean, the whole thing where Wolf could not live without Scarlet. It was both irritating and slightly adorable at the same time because of how I could like. I can't even talk about it without getting frustrated. Wow, I just it was cute, but I think it was a little excessive. Like, yes, you miss her, she was your alpha, stuff like that. But you need to be able to live without her. Like, yes, your world should revolve around her, but should she disappear, you should be able to move on eventually. And like be able to conduct your, still be strong and be able to get through everything. And Wolf did not exhibit any of those traits. He basically shut down after she left and was taken. And I'm not exactly sure if I like how that happened or how he reacted. I mean, it's understandable because of who he is and what happened to him, and he knows what's gonna happen. He doesn't know if she's still alive. I mean, no one really knows, but they don't really know if she's alive or not, but yeah, I don't know. And then Scarlet's doing pretty good up there by herself. She's relying on her friends to come and get her, which I guess that is an impossible situation to be in because you're on a planet full of lunars and you're human. You're human, you're earthen, and you can't get off Luna like at all. And so you're basically just stuck. I mean, she could be doing other things like trying to plan and get out or whatever, but so far in this book, it didn't look like she was doing a whole lot of planning to get out. She was basically just waiting for them to come get her. And I kind of wish she had taken the incentive and was trying to figure out ways to escape or get out or get past this, instead of just relying on her friends to get her out. That, yeah. But other than that, the storyline was really good. What happened was really good. I liked everything about it except those little things that I told you. Um, Overall, it's been a pretty good story. I like how it's panned out. I like how it's a lot more complicated and how all of the different stories are interconnected and how they are able to um, intertwine the Cinderella and the Little Red Riding Hood and the Rapunzel and the Snow White stories together. And I'm excited to finish winter and see how it all ends and wraps up. I'm really sad though that there's only 4 books. I mean, there's Fairest, which is Queen Lavana's story, but I don't know. I don't like Queen Lavana, like at all, and so I'm not exactly sure if I want to read Fairest. I might read Fairest, but I'm probably not going to. That's a maybe iffy. But I'm super sad that there's only 4 books because then that means there's not a whole lot to of the story left. I mean, I'm on the last book. I wish there was so much more because this story is so wonderful. I love this story. Like, for me to say that and like actually mean it, that I actually truly truly love that story, it doesn't happen very often. But yeah, that's my thoughts, feels, and opinions on this book. I totally recommend you read this series because, like I said, it's amazing. Of course, it's super hyped up right now, and so you might not want to read it because of that. but I'm not kidding when I say that it is really good. So you should read it. And that's all for this video.